Hi, friends. In our time together today, we're talking about combining technical skills and emotion in playing our whistles. And I have an example of this at the end. You know, I do talk a good bit about developing and increasing our technical skills in playing the whistle. Things like hole coverage, dexterity, the speed with which we play, tone quality, breath pressure, ornamentation. All of these are just so very important. But a musician, and if you just picked up your first low D whistle today, or another whistle, or another instrument, if you just picked your first one up, you're a musician. Your technical skills might not be very good, but you're a musician. And musicians are artists, conveying a scene through what they play. Musicians are storytellers, telling a story in how they play. Musicians connect technical skills with emotion, and in doing so are able to convey something from the heart and not just playing accurately. There's little worse than listening to a musician who has deep technical accuracy who can't play with emotion. That's frustrating. So learn to play with emotion. I'm trying to. It's important for us to do. I love Yo-Yo Ma. I love to listen to him play. And he plays so many different styles on his cello with so many different people. But I really like his master classes. In a master class I was watching recently, I actually just watched a snippet of this one. He was talking about learning to play with emotion. And he said, you have to know the content of a tune. And he said, once you know the content of a tune, you try and figure out what the tune's saying. And then you let that connect with your heart. And then you try and express that as you're playing your instrument. We need an underlying desire, he says, to share the beautiful emotion of the tune with other people. And you do that through your instrument. And there are a wide variety of ways that we can do that. We'll talk about just a few of those. In another video, I went on a short rabbit trail. In another video, I saw him working with some young children who were already learning and reasonably good at playing their instruments. But his point was to get them past being reasonably good at playing with their instruments from a technical standpoint. He wanted to take them somewhere else, to be the artist, to be the storyteller, to be the emotional communicator. And so he said to these children, can you play something that makes me guess what you're feeling? I loved that. And they went through and they played things. And then he said, well, that makes me excited and a little scared at the same time. Is that what you were going for? And then he would say to another child, well, that makes me really calm and happy. Is that what you wanted me to feel? What do you and I want our listeners to feel when we're playing the whistle? And that actually will cause you to gravitate to certain tunes more than others, because there are certain things you love about music and you want that to spill out as you're playing. Michael, a great member of our community. Hey, Michael, and thanks for this conversation. He and I were chatting, I think yesterday, in the comments to one of our recent videos, about how amazing it is that one tune connects deeply with me and not you, and another tune connects deeply with you and not me. Why is that? What's up with that? And it often doesn't have anything to do with how good the tune is. There are certain things in our hearts, our minds, our souls that resonate with certain tunes. We'll think more about this later. But one of the answers is that there are certain things within us that tune connects with, almost as though like you were a pitchfork, that this tune set that pitchfork vibrating. You know, when I was young, I was working so hard on technical accuracy in playing. We've talked about that some. And then one of my aunts, whom I love deeply, introduced me to Peter, Paul, and Mary. And I'd been, my dad loved marches, so we listened to all these marches, and we listened to country music all the time, and I played a lot of classical stuff, and we listened to that. And I loved that stuff, and some of it I still love. And then I heard Peter, Paul, and Mary, and somehow the music they played connected with me at a level that little music before it had connected. And it set me wondering what it was. I was young, but what is it that made me love their music? And it's because they poured themselves into it. They were telling stories to my heart from their heart. And it was beautiful. I don't love everything they do. But there was a period of a couple albums that married with who I was in that moment. And I just absolutely loved. They were one of the very first groups that caused me to notice that emotion and technical accuracy can be married together to create something absolutely beautiful. So what is that for you and me? Find tunes that resonate with your heart. Play them. Take all the technical expertise you have and apply that. Because the more technical expertise you have, the more you can mess around with it. The more you're able to do what you want to do in expressing a tune. If you're a brand new player, you can't do everything you want to do. So you need to develop those skills. You need to develop those ornaments. You need to be able to make those note transitions. You need to be able to change your breathing. And so like, for example, you're playing a tune and you're thinking, I know it's not written this way, but I could pause here. Then I could come in quietly. Or in another tune, I could pause here and then slam that next note. Or I could, instead of pausing in this tune, I could keep running and add some twiddly bits in there. I could change the pace of this tune. You know, it feels like I should add this ornament here. It feels like I should dial this down and add a soft vibrato. Or it feels like I should pick this up and play victoriously. All these things are available to you, but you need the skills to do it. This is why it's important for us to have the technical skills. But it's even more important for us to say, I want to convey this emotion. Yo-Yo Ma looks at me and looks at you and says, can you play something that will make me realize what you're feeling right now? And when you're playing a tune, that's important. This is true no matter our skill level. From the very first day you start learning to play, begin starting to learn to realize this is what you do. This is why we love many musicians more than others. This is why there are famous whistle players that set our feet to dancing, that make our hearts sad, that make our hearts happy, because they know how to do this. Combine technical skill with emotion. Now, I have an example for us. And again, my technical skill is still in development, and that's okay. My ability to combine emotion with technical skills still in development. That's okay. Don't wait until you are till you have deep technical expertise before combining emotion with it. Start now. So, one of the very first tunes I ever introduced on our channel is Return from Fingal. I like it. It's easy for a beginner. It's emotional. And this is one of the reasons I tell the stories of a tune. Because this story of this tune is that they went off to war just north of Dublin. The king dies. So many are lost, but they won. And they're coming back from Fingal, the area where the battle took place. Their hearts are heavy with loss. Their hearts are full of joy with victory. How do you write that into a tune? Technically, you can't. Emotionally, you can't. So, technically, the tune goes... All right, and I left the repeat out in the interest of time, and I didn't play the whole thing. That's an example of that I played that technically correct. That didn't at all let you think of heartbroken, victorious people. That's a hard thing to do. How do you do that? So in thinking about that, I'm thinking of adding some soft bits. I'm thinking of adding some louder bits. I'm thinking of picking up the pace in places. I'm thinking of pausing in places. So here's an example. My current technical skill level applied in this moment. You know how that changes from one day to another. My current technical skill level applied in this moment as an attempt to let you know how I'm feeling about that story, applying it to that tune so that I hope you can feel just a little bit of the emotion that was intended to be written into Return from Fingal that cannot be captured by the printed page, but must be felt and expressed. you marry the skills you have with the emotion you can convey. I would love to play that a dozen more times to try and get better. And I think that's something we should do in practice. When I'm playing my low whistle, I don't just want to technically hit the tune. I want to say something. When I was playing that, I'm thinking. I was trying to picture people marching. They're trying to get themselves to pick up the pace. They're trying to encourage each other. And yet their legs are so heavy. You know, you're trying to get into a marching pace, and then it just hurts too much. How can you convey that? How can I convey that? Experiment. Don't just experiment with ornaments. Experiment with emotion, my friends. How can you and I play better? Combine skill with emotion. Develop your technical expertise. Develop your ability to play emotionally from day one. Is it a happy dance tune? Then make me happy and make me want to dance. Is it a sad tune? Make me cry. Is it a love story? Make me long for it and ache. Now, I need to be a much better musician to get there. And maybe you do too. That's one of the reasons we work on this together. It's one of the reasons we have community. If you're new to our community, please subscribe and join in. Join the conversation. Make comments. What are your favorite tunes? What tune just lights up your heart that you could play every day because you feel like you can emotionally express it? It might not be the same as one for me, but does it connect with that little tuning fork in your heart? What kind of things do you do? So if this is helpful to you, please like the video, please subscribe, please join our conversation, because we need to become better musicians, and we help each other do that. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling.